Good
So
morning,
I,
everyone. Welcome to Thriving Through Trials, the show that's dedicated to bringing hope and inspiration to those facing debilitating diseases and challenges. I'm Dr. Samantha Benjamin-Allen, a board-certified physician in physical medicine and rehabilitation, and founder of Freedom Wellness Physiatry, a direct specialty care practice serving the DMV in the home care setting. In this show, we'll be shining a light on remarkable individuals who have not just survived, but thrived beyond their circumstances. We'll be exploring their journeys, their resilience, and the strategies they've used to regain mobility, independence, and improve their quality of life. Our goal is to empower, encourage, and motivate you, our viewers, and provide a source of inspiration in the face of adversity. Join us as we uncover stories of triumph and learn how to thrive through life's toughest trials. Today, we have a special guest, Ms. Teresa Bennett, and she is founder of Upending Parkinson's. I am going to let you introduce yourself, Teresa, and we are going to talk together.
okay, good morning. I'm Teresa Bennett, originally from El Salvador. And then I came here to the United States about 43 years ago. And so then I have 3 adult children. I'm married for 35 years. I just got invited and I'm very happy to be here.
And I'm excited to have you. Thank you for accepting the invitation. Miss Teresa is an amazing woman. I'm going to ask her a couple of questions so we can delve into a little bit more of just how amazing she is. Tell me, when you first discovered that you were having symptoms of Parkinson's, when did things kind of start, and what were you feeling?
I went to a wedding. My cousin was getting married in New York. So then my aunt asked me to write something in Spanish to translate in English. So then I was holding the paper with my left hand. And this is 2014. It was August 2014. And then my hand was shaking. So my aunt, after I read the paper, she said, "Why are you shaking so much?" And I said, "I don't know." So then that happened in August 2014. Then again, when my son was playing basketball and I was there, my daughter asked me why my left hand was shaking so much. And I didn't know. So then on 2015, February, I went to a neurologist and he told me right away that I have some sort of like a familial tremors.
Uh-huh.
And then she said there was nothing else to do. That is very, nothing bad. So then I let it go for a few years, like, nothing difficult or dangerous or anything with that diagnosis. So then I went on. But then by 2018, 19, I started experiencing more stiffness in my left leg. I couldn't type anymore. At the time, I was a school counselor in a high school. So then I was very stiff, very tired, very dizzy, and lack of energy. So I was getting worried. Then another doctor, neurologist in the same practice, said that I had migraines. So he sent me to a migraine specialist. And then this migraine specialist told me to see a movement disorder specialist. So that's when in February 2020, he told me that I had Parkinson's. So at first, it was a big shock.
6 years from when you first started noticing something wasn't right to finally getting the right diagnosis. And this is not uncommon for a lot of people. They'll go through different doctors, different diagnoses till they finally discover this. So I think it's very important that you're sharing your story so that people recognize some of the symptoms. And for those who don't know, Parkinson's disease is a neurodegenerative disease that affects the substantia nigra, which is a structure in our brainstem that helps to control our movements and help us to control our fine motor coordination as well. And this area gets affected in Parkinson's. And like Ms. Teresa was saying, a lot of times in the beginning, you'll notice a tremor in the hand. So it's important that when you do see a provider, if you are experiencing these symptoms, they rule this out as well. Yes, it can be, you can have tremors that are familiar, or you can have tremors related to migraines or other diagnoses as well, but don't, make sure they do not neglect to check or consider Parkinson's as well.
Yeah, it never crossed my mind that I could have Parkinson's. I don't know. I just let it be. But it was really very deteriorating for me. I remember that after the end of the day, as a school counselor, I was totally exhausted. I would go home and just completely wiped out. I couldn't even go for a walk. But I didn't know until I went to the movement disorder specialist. And when he told me that, my husband was with me, and I really, I was in shock.
Yeah.
I just didn't know what would be, what was happening. You know, I really didn't know what to do about it.
And what would you say was your turning point once you got the diagnosis and then you realized, okay, this is what it is. What am I going to do next? What was your kind of your thought process to get to the next step?
Well, I am very, I'm a very strong person. So I knew that I had to do something. I just didn't know what. So first of all, I asked my husband that we're going to be selling our home and moving to a 55 plus, to have everything in one floor. I didn't want to deal with a step, and I'm not very good about reacting to events. I like to plan ahead and just whatever happens in the future. So then after that, we packed the house. But then in December 2020, remember that everything was closed at the time. So it was not any gyms, anything like that. So I walked a lot, and that was very fun with my husband. And then I was deciding whether to retire or not. So then I retired from being a school counselor in a high school, and then packed the house, sold the house. And in December 2020, at that point, I'm already involved with the neurologist's office. They have very important to have that in any neurologist's office, to have like a person who can send you, recommend you, or referring to resources.
Yes.
So my resource told me about a podcast, and that's when I listened to this podcast. And Molly, not a lot of time, Kopka, she's my instructor. She was interviewed by this Teresa Jackson's podcast. So then they talk about rock climbing and Parkinson's. Okay. So then I mentioned it to my children, because they also, my son-in-law, he's a climber. So then I was just trying to connect with him and my daughter. So I mentioned it to them. This is December 2020. By Mother's Day, they had bought me 2 lessons with Molly.
So I went. So your children were supportive, and they said, "Mom, yes, let's do it." And they got you your first 2 sessions with Molly.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, that's awesome.
But in between December and May, I was really upset because I didn't know what's going to happen. I didn't know what to do. I had to find a purpose. Right. And that's the whole thing, a purpose of my life, because my kids already raised, they were out of the house. I've worked. All my purposes already done. So I didn't know what would be the next step for me. Right. So then at that point, when I went in May for the lessons, I have to say, I mean, you see these tall walls, and it's intimidating.
Yeah, definitely.
And Molly was there, and another friend, and she has Parkinson. And she said to me, "You'll see, Teresa, you're gonna find changes in your body and your mind and your spirit, and it's gonna be good." So then I trusted that, and then I started going once, twice a week, and I just got hooked, and I loved it. But not only because the exercise in the community, but also because I started feeling better in my mind.
What did you notice in your improvement? Kind of walk us through how you started feeling better. What did you notice?
Well, I was doing this PT program called Loud and
Big.
Yes. So then I finished my loud and I finished my big. Then my OT said to me, Teresa, I can't do more than what you're doing with climbing
Mm-hmm.
because my fingers were getting stronger.
Mm-hmm.
And little by little, then he said, don't come back for the OT. So I continued, with climbing, but I started noticing that I didn't shuffle anymore, that the tremors were
Great.
not visible anymore, that
Wow.
I was feeling happier.
Uh-huh.
Um, my hands were not shaking anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And then my medication was increasing very slowly. The doctor was like, it would take like maybe 8 months to increase the milligrams or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So, and I noticed that I was happier. Um, and physically, I was stronger, like I said.
Yes.
One thing is that I couldn't walk with a cup of coffee in my hand.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to push it in the table, but then after now I do it. So when I started feeling all those changes for better, then I got more hooked into the climbing.
Right. Because
So
it was
when I
doing great things for you.
oh definitely I that's what for me personally. But then I realized that was the purpose of
Mm-hmm.
what I was looking for.
You got an
When
answer to this. What is my next purpose now that I have Parkinson's? What is my next goal? And you found something.
yes,
That's
I never thought that climbing would be giving me all the answers for my body, my mind, my spirit. And then because of climbing, you stretch so much climbing. So then I added Pilates.
uh-huh.
And then I swim 3 or 4 times a week too. So all of that helps me more to be better at climbing. For me,
Yeah.
it's climbing because climbing it gives me my purpose and my health
Mm-hmm.
and my happiness and my strength.
Wonderful. Well, thank God you found rock climbing. That's
I
great.
know.
And rock climbing is not an easy thing to do. Like you said, when you look at that wall, it's intimidating, but it involves a lot of big movements and fine motor movements in terms of the gripping that you have to do when you go to
Yeah.
stone or each gripping hook. So you are strengthening those fine motor muscles and you're also stretching, like you said. So you're really incorporating your entire body movement
Yeah.
into your rehabilitation experience. And it's fun. So it's a win-win.
Yeah. I've been always very active. I've done a lot of exercises in my life, and there's nothing for me personally like rock climbing. It is an amazing sport, and the community, and in every single way. Now I also go outdoors,
Mm-hmm.
and that's another thing. It's just different climbing, but it's also very it's challenging.
Yeah.
And I'm 67 years old. I never thought that I would be doing this
Woo!
at this age in my
You
life.
look younger. You're
Uh,
beaming.
I'm just happier. And the thing is that I believe that you can't just sit there and be negative and let it go. I owe it to myself and I owe it to my children and my husband, my family. Why not to do something that is going to improve your life?
Exactly. Yeah,
So
that's the best perspective to have, or else it will bring you down. It can bring you down if you let it. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not easy to have Parkinson's. It's a daily challenging, and it is not like, yeah, there are mornings that I'm slower than other mornings, but every day I get up at 6 in the morning, I get my breakfast, my medication, and I just go to climb, or I go to swim, or I go to Pilates, or something. But I like climbing. I climb on a regular basis 3 times a week,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
I
tell me,
climbed.
in the beginning, you were doing indoor rock climbing. So there's padding, you have all the harnesses, all the safeties in place, but now you also do outdoor rock climbing, which I think some people envision as being very scary.
It's
So
scary.
how did you describe the indoor setting versus the outdoor setting with rock climbing and how you manage those two environments?
Well, the indoor is you have the halls where where you can put your hands on, the holders. And then outdoors, there's the rocks, and there's have a little crystals or little rock or little cracks, and then you hold it. I think mentally you have to realize that nothing's going to happen. You might get bruised or scraped, but you're in a harness, in a rope, and outdoors is challenging because there are no holes. You have to find them, and then you have to push your foot or your toes against the rock to hold on and to go up. But it is because you're doing something physically, and your brain is working.
Exactly. I was just going to mention that your brain is working and problem solving constantly when you're rock climbing. Because you have to figure out, where am I going to put my hand next? Where am I going to put my foot next? I have to search for the next holding point where I can anchor myself for my next move. And you're constantly using your brain. So you're also training your cognitive muscles to stay sharp despite the Parkinson's. This is just wonderful.
And it is something like my Parkinson is on the left side. So let's say that I'm climbing either way, either wall, outdoors or indoors. Sometimes the left leg is not responding. So then you move your body in a way that then the left leg would move. But it's not like my instructor Molly would say, go to the left. I said, I know.
I know, but my left leg doesn't want to move right now.
But you don't get down on it. Then you laugh because you don't cry. You laugh and you have a good time. But because eventually you're going to get there.
You're going to figure it out. Yeah.
You figure it out. Or sometimes she would say, go to the left leg or left arm, hand. And then I figured out something else. And then she would say, that too. Okay, the other left or the other right. So yeah, so it's a fun interaction with the belayer and me, but indoors it's also difficult because there are difficulties in each route. You have to follow the same color, and for example, if I'm gonna go to the yellow, just go to the yellows or to the orange, and you have to follow. But then there are holders that are not easy to hold on. So I call it my unfriendly holders.
So this is less friendly indoor versus outdoor, you would say?
Well, I don't know. The two of them, is that different? They are different challenges.
Just different, okay.
They're different, but I love both. I love the challenge. That's it, really is.
Tell me, what's your biggest surprise that you've had in the last few months in terms of your progress, or what you're noticing that you're able to do at this point in your life that you had challenges with maybe in 2014, 2015, even 2016? What's your biggest surprise, or what you're proud of now that maybe you found more challenging before?
I'm so proud. I'm 67 years old, and to be doing this climbing, it's not that I'm so proud, but I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
And then when my family or my nieces, my kids, they say that I have a very strong back on my arms, then it's a pride. Yeah, I'm proud of it.
Probably beat me up a rock climbing wall. I bet.
And
I've done rock rappelling, but I've done rock climbing probably a couple of times.
And then also there's for me is this
beat me up there.
there's no age limit to do anything. You put your mind on. Like, for example, I went to get my master's degree when I was 54.
Wow.
So
what did you get your master's degree in?
In education. So I became a school counselor.
Ah, okay, very nice.
So then there's no time limit for anything that you want to do. It's just to decide to do it.
Right. Set your mind to it and then just move forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And what lessons can you share with the audience before we close up in a little bit, what lessons would you like to share with those who might be coming in or listening later? What message would you share with them?
I would say that to do something. Like I said, my friend told me almost 3 years ago to find a purpose in my life.
Mm-hmm.
To do something, that not to just to be scared, because Parkinson can be scary, but now that I'm in control of it, in the sense that I do something about it, and then I know that somehow I'm slowing it down, the progress, the progression.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So then I think to do something, no matter what, even walking, biking, whatever, just do something. Don't be afraid of to challenge yourself.
Things. Yeah.
Yes. And I think that's really for me the secret is to put yourself out there.
Yes.
To take risks. I don't know.
Yes. So what I'm getting from what you said is to find a purpose in the challenge or in this unexpected, whatever it might be for anyone listening. Find a purpose that you can set your mind to, a challenge, try something new, take the risk, step out on faith, or just try to do something to get going so that you don't allow this to stop you.
Yeah, and also I think not only that, to do something, because that activity physically is going to improve and help you, but also give you pride. It gives you something to be proud of and that you love it. I just don't know. It's give you, ¿cómo se dice? Be proud of, I guess is a word that I'm trying to just.
Orgullosa, I think. Is that the word?
Yeah, I think, yeah, people get, and people.
Yeah, you have a sense of self-confidence.
That's it, yeah.
Self-confidence, and you feel empowered when you start seeing the things that you're able to do once you start challenging yourself. Then you just keep going.
Yes. Yeah. And it's a very satisfying feeling.
Yes. And you also are inspiring countless people.
Other people.
So, yeah, that's a great thing. Now, tell us, how can listeners find you, your program, if they're in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and they would like to explore or try rock climbing for themselves? How can they find you?
I think maybe I can give it to you, my link for the pending Parkinson's website.
I'll add it to the show notes.
Yeah, and then I was interviewed for a magazine by a year or 2 years ago, I think, called The Brain and Life magazine. It's a neurologist magazine, and I was interviewed for an article about rock climbing and Parkinson's. And I can maybe share my email, I guess, if they wanted to.
You did an interview with Dr. Faulkner?
No, I was interviewed by John Hunt.
Oh, John Hunt. Okay.
Yes, a writer.
I saw Dr. Faulkner in the notes for that article. So
yes, his partner is my doctor. Dr. Whitney.
Very nice.
Yes.
Awesome. And when is your next rock climbing adventure?
Well, I'm in El Salvador right now, so I think I'm gonna go home tomorrow, and then when I go, my daughter, one lives in New York in Long Island, and another lives in California in San Diego. So when I go to visit them, I have my own gyms over there too. So in Long Island, I have another rock climbing gym that I go there. I've been doing that for a couple of years. And also when I go to California, I rock climb over there. But when I go to California, I climb outdoors more so because my son-in-law climbs outdoors, so I go with him.
Oh, so you have company with him. That's nice.
Oh, yeah, no, I rock climb a lot. I really love it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. Is there any last words that you have or anything you wanted to let the viewers know before we end?
Yeah, I think I would say when I was very in the dark, that I didn't know what's going to happen in the future, and I was very scared.
Mhm.
I talked to a friend. Well, now she's my friend, but at the time we didn't know each other. But I knew of her. She was a life coach, and her name is Teresa Jackson.
Mhm.
And then I called her, and we talked on the phone. And then she was telling me that I needed to find a purpose in my life, but I
Mhm.
didn't know what she meant.
Ah,
But at the time, I didn't know. So then now I'm like I'm saying now rock climbing and my exercise is my purpose. But also, like I would say that there's always someone there to listen to your story, to share your story, your fears. Because I remember being in the phone talking to Teresa and I was in tears.
mhm.
I was sobbing. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what's going to happen to me. But when she said that, and then I started thinking about it, and I think it's important to find someone, maybe, and I know that the immediate family, they're there to support you, but because they don't want anything happens to you.
Yeah,
Uh,
sometimes they have good intentions, but it might not always be the best advice in some cases.
but ask questions like with you, for example, you are a very good resource for the people. You can guide people around, but if they don't speak, if they don't talk, or they don't share their story, nobody's gonna know. You have to get out of your house, reach out, because
That's
there's
right.
always someone there. Always, always.
Yes. Thank you
That's
so
my
much.
advice.
Yes, thank you. Very valuable and powerful advice. Your voice, your story, and your struggles matter. And when we feel like no one cares or we feel alone or no one is going to listen, it limits our ability to actually reach our potential because there are possibilities that lie ahead. And sometimes we forfeit the chance to benefit from those possibilities because we don't talk or we don't share what's going on with us.
Yeah, and people can read minds.
Right,
They don't know what you're doing. They don't know what you're feeling if you don't say it.
exactly.
And it's like a very liberation feeling. Like once you say it, for me, I'm glad that I said it because then people understand.
Yes,
Sometimes I want to maybe hide my tremors, but if I say, "Hey guys, I'm have my tremors," and they just nobody help. They help me. I mean, it's very it's like people don't read minds, and that's what
right.
I would feel.
And we often will be surprised that when we do speak out regarding what we're dealing with, people are receptive and understanding and they want to help. But people cannot help us if they don't know what we need. So
Exactly.
when we, for instance, the patients that I talk to who have Parkinson's, I tell them when you're going to an environment where you're maybe around new people, I don't want you to be nervous or feel like you have to hide this. Just in conversation, you guys will be there, say, I have Parkinson's disease and I have tremors sometimes. I'm just letting you know. So in case you are eating or something happens, that's the reason. And most times, if not all times, people will be understanding and that's like, thank you for sharing that with me. Can I help you with anything? So it really can take a lot of burden off of your shoulders when you share.
Oh yeah. And I discovered that, and little by little, I started learning my body
Mm-hmm.
and trusting more, opening more. And then I realized people really respond very positive
Mm-hmm.
to me. If I go to a restaurant and they see my legs, the tremors, and then she was, oh, are you cold? No, I have Parkinson's. So I'm not afraid to
Yes.
say it. It's part
Yes.
of my life. I
Right.
embrace it because that's who we are. We have
That's right.
Parkinson's.
Embrace the journey. That's right. Okay. Thank you so much, Ms. Teresa Bennett. It was a pleasure speaking with you today. I will add the link to her organization in the show notes. So anyone who's interested in checking that out can do so and reach out if you would like to learn more. So to everyone, thank you for tuning in to Thriving Through Trials. If you've been inspired by the incredible stories shared on this show and would like to stay connected with us, make sure to follow us on all your favorite social media platforms. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Freedom Wellness Physiatry. And remember, if you or a loved one are in need of our specialized services at Freedom Wellness Physiatry, don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to partner with caregivers and help those facing debilitating circumstances achieve greater mobility, independence, and a better quality of life at home. Simply visit our website at freedomwellnessphysiatry.com. Physiatry is spelled P-H-Y-S-I-A-T-R-Y, or give us a call at 240-339-5377 to book an appointment. Your journey to thriving begins with a single step, and we're here to support you every step of the way. Thank you, Ms. Teresa Bennett, and enjoy your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. Bye-bye.